Patriots, Eric Corcoran here. I am so fired up to be with a great, and I do mean great Patriot, Nathan Ferrell. We're here in Ridgeland, South Carolina, and I have behind me Demon Performance, and it's amazing what this man does. You know, we met marching down downtown Charleston. You know what we were standing for? Liberty. This flag. Why do I bring this flag everywhere? Because it represents the original 13 colonies, and one of them is South Carolina. And Nathan, it's so great to be doing this with you, brother.
So glad to have you here.
Absolutely. You know, we're both Celts. We're both proud of our ancestry. And at the same time, we're proud of what we're doing today. You know, people are going to read about this years from now. 2021, what happened? 2020, 2021, what's going to happen in 2022? It's going to be made up of what we choose to do.
Absolutely.
How we choose to stand. So let me ask you, Nathan, the most important question I ask people. What does liberty mean to you, especially right now?
Liberty means to me the ability to make my choices that guide me through my life. Not just for my business, but for every decision I make, regardless of where it is. I feel like the liberty granted to us by our Creator, that was enshrined by our forefathers and supposed to be protected by our government, gives us the ability to reach out and make those decisions that are high risk, that are low risk, that are conservative, that are liberal. We can take the dive into building a business that says, hey, I'm going to throw caution to the wind, and whatever happens, happens. You know, we didn't ask for any sort of handouts when we started this. As a matter of fact, my business partner Skip and I, we were coming off of a bad situation from a previous business, and we were already in debt. We didn't have pockets full. We weren't in a good place to start a business, but we said, you know, this is what we're passionate about. We're passionate about going fast. We're passionate about building race cars. And, you know, what time better than now? And I don't mean just now is 2021. Now then was 2011. Yeah. What better time than now? Now is every day. What better time than now to make that decision to go do what you want to do? And we said now, August 23rd, 2011, now is the time. And we did it. And liberty allowed us the freedom to make that decision.
Absolutely. Well, this is a cool place of business. I was just overlooking at the different cars in here, and one of them is the fastest Jeep in the world.
Correct.
Right?
198 miles an hour.
198 miles an hour. So what I'll do is I'm going to take pictures later, so you'll get to see all this stuff in here, because it's pretty amazing. But for people who don't really understand, kind of give us the layman's terms for the different kind of services you provide here.
Right. So we are a high-performance modification shop. We offer services for everything from just tuning up your street car, something you want to sound a little better, go a little bit faster on the street, all the way to full-blown race cars. So you want to have a little louder exhaust system on your car, a cold air intake, something like that. We do that all the way up to fully built drivetrains, suspension, engines, fuel systems, turbo kits, superchargers, nitrous, roll cages, safety equipment, all that. So it's really everything from mild to wild. Now we do, as you can see behind you, we do have a lot of SUVs in here. We focus specifically in the Jeeps, but our main niche market is the Gen 3 Hemi platform. So Charger, Challenger, Magnum, 300C, SRT8 Jeeps. We've got a Ram outside there. You know, everything that's got a Hemi in it from the factory. We do other high performance modification in here. We do work on Ford Mustangs and Camaros and CTSVs and things like that. But our main focus, what people will send us their cars from all over the country, are the Chrysler platform.
So I'm guessing, and I'm guessing you're thinking this too, did this happen at an early age when you were like, I'm really into cars? Or how did all this begin from the beginning?
Definitely.
Yeah.
In my childhood, both of my parents had input on my love for cars, just each in different ways. My dad always took me down to a place in where I grew up in Indiana, in Greenwood, called the Dog and Suds. It was just a little root beer stand, and they had a cruise-in every Friday night during the summer. It was awesome seeing all the old hot rods. And that was a relationship I always had with my dad. We built model cars together when I was a kid. We always went to the car shows. We went to the big World of Wheels, and we would go racing together. My mother was more of, I don't want to look at it, I want to drive it.
Yeah.
My mom taught me how to drive a stick when I was 12. The first person I ever did burnouts with was my mom. First person I ever did donuts in a car with was my mom. So she was a wild woman.
Right.
So
Sounds like my mom. Yeah.
right. So I had the input from both sides, and the mixture of those two are what led me to take a passion and make it a career.
So when you walk in here every day, and how many employees you said you've got?
There's
Is it 4 or 5?
6 of us
6
altogether.
Okay.
Right.
When you walk in here, what gets you fired up to get going every day?
What really gets me fired up is seeing, it's not even, obviously we have our victories in here. We're excited when a car makes a bunch of horsepower on the dyno, it goes fast down the track. What really excites me is when I see customers that come to pick up their car and they're like, whoa, this thing's fast. When we take them out for the cruise, we usually, especially if it's a big horsepower jump, we generally don't let them drive first.
Right.
Regardless of their experience, we'll take them out for a ride, and when they reach up for the oh Jesus handle and they're they get roller coaster face, when you do that and they come back and they're just smiling from ear to ear, that feels good.
Yeah.
Because it's like any other job, whether it may be categorized as a fun job.
Yeah.
It has the same stresses as any other job.
Oh, yeah.
We have deadlines, we have things go wrong, and when you put this kind of power in vehicles that weigh as much as these do, stuff breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's common. So we have all the normal setbacks of any other business that could be equated to different categories, but same types of setbacks. But at the end of the day, it's great to see the customers when their vehicles do what they wanted them to do and more. And that's really cool because our customers, when they become customers, they stop being customers. They become family.
Yeah.
I've got customers that I've been in their weddings. I have a customer who's in the Coast Guard who asked me to pin him when he got promoted, which is an incredible honor to ask anyone to pin you for their next rank. We have these people have slept in my house. I have these are my
and when I need, no,
right when I need to take a road trip somewhere, I call up these people and they're like, hey, stop by, see me. These are my family, and it's crazy to have that when you're really down in the count and you really feel like something's beating you up. That's what feels really good is when you remember, like, I have just developed this massive family over the years of these incredible clients that I have that continue to support my business and help me stay open. I help them keep going fast, and even when they've since sold their race cars, we're still friends, we're still family. They still come to visit, we still go visit them, and that's, to me, I think that's the most important aspect, is the fact that when a new person walks through the door, that's a new family member.
Yeah.
And that's a great feeling.
Well, here's what blew me away. We were walking around. I was talking to you about different customers you have all over the world. You've got 6 people who are impacting people all over the world. I mean, that's incredible.
Right. We ship parts all over the globe. We've got customers from Canada, UK, Australia, Sweden. We shipped our first package to Japan last year, which was kind of cool. But and it's really neat when they call. When the different accents and stuff people are trying to fight through, especially if it's someone from like the Middle East, or even like someone called from Quebec one time. They're trying to fight through their limited knowledge of English, and it's really neat to interact with those people. But yes, we do impact a global and national market. And again, like I told you a few minutes ago, sometimes you lose sight of that fact because you get your blinders on and I only see this. But then when I see a license plate from Alaska or from New York or Florida or Texas or California, or I see a shipping label that's going out to Australia or Canada or Brazil, it's like, okay, I remember now.
Well, and I tell people, and we're all business owners in this. I've got my own, health and wellness business. You're doing this business, Businesses for Liberty. Vision's so important, right? So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So when it comes to Demon Performance, what's your vision going forward into the next year? Like, what do you want to see this become?
Our real goal, I wouldn't say the next year, in the next couple of years, we want to branch out into more offerings. Maybe not different vehicle platforms. We already do some design and reverse engineering work in here.
Right.
But I would really like to, I think the next big step for us is going to be in-house manufacturing. We have local manufacturers that manufacture private line parts for us, but CNC mills and lathes, laser jet cutting machines, that is our next big step. Like you saw my 3D printer back there, I have prototyping capabilities. The next big step is going to be able to prototype, walk over to the machine, and make a part without having to work. And it's nothing against having to go outside to work with these other companies, but a lot of these other companies, if they're good at what they do, they're backed up 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I can't wait that long.
Yeah.
Who can, right? So if we have the ability to grow to that next level and be able to manufacture 100% in-house, it takes us to a whole new level.
Now, something that is not really related, but the first thing when I walked in here, I saw a certain American flag over here. Would you mind telling a little bit about, they can't see it in the camera, but what is significant about this flag that you put up in here?
That was a friend, a customer, and friend of ours, James. He was in Afghanistan many years after me, and while he was there, he had some friends who were crew on an AC-130 gunship, and they will do a flag fly for you, where they take the flag up on a mission. And I actually have a certification that shows, what air base they flew out of Bagram Air Base, and which obviously is big in the news right now.
Yeah.
They flew out of Bagram, and it shows the date and the time and the mission that it was on, the crew, and the call sign of the bird, and it has a big picture of the bird in the background. And he flew that flag for us and sent it back over, which is, again, it speaks volumes to our client base. I was just having a conversation with my technicians yesterday before we left. I have another customer, his name's Gabriel. He was stationed in Korea for a long time. He's in the Air Force. He speaks fluent Korean. He's a translator. And while he was over there, me being a Colts fan from Indianapolis, Andrew Luck went over there on a USO mission, and he somehow weaved his way through the crowd behind Andrew Luck. And Gabriel's he's a big guy, so he's probably about the same height. So it was kind of weird to see the camera not looking up at Andrew Luck. And he taps him. He's like, hey, Andrew. He's like, do you mind signing this for my friend? Yeah. He's like, this is for my buddy Nate. And he looked up. Andrew Luck looked up, grabbed the pen. He's like, yeah, sure. Here you go. So he handed it back to him. So we're standing here in the shop. He came back to pick up his vehicle, and he's like, check out this video. So I don't know what I'm seeing yet, right? I'm like watching the video. I'm like, oh, that's Andrew Luck. And he's like, yeah, would you mind signing this for my friend Nate? And then and he's like, yeah, sure. And then he reaches in his bag and hands me the football signed by Andrew Luck.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of relationship that we have with our family.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Well, the word I keep thinking about the last couple of weeks is connection. We can even be right politically. We can agree on the same things. But if we're not connected, what does it matter?
Correct.
Really. I mean, there's a lot of people who agree with things, but they feel completely alone.
Exactly, on an island.
They feel, whether you're a business owner, you're a stay-at-home parent, you're a pastor, you are not alone. We are in this fight together for our liberty. And we were talking about the war between the states, the Civil War, you can call it many different terms earlier. To stand for our history. I was there in Gettysburg, right where Pickett's charge happened, the high water mark, and I was just thinking of the bravery, the courage of soldiers on both sides who were fighting the fight of their lives. And the question is today, do we have that resolve? Do we have that courage as a business owner, as a stay-at-home parent, as someone who's just a consumer? Are we willing to say, I'm going to drive an extra mile to get to Demon Performance,
right,
as opposed to a woke business or a global business? And honestly, when you take your wallet out, I'm just going to do it. When you take your wallet out, you're either going for liberty or you're going for tyranny.
right.
And that's why when I was there in January and at the Capitol, I saw people drinking from Starbucks, and I was like, why are you drinking from that?
Right.
How are you drinking from liberty, from tyranny, while we're standing for liberty? It's unbelievable. So what do you think about, why should people care about going to a patriot business versus just going to any business and they don't even know where they stand?
Well, I think a lot of people feel like the only time that you vote
Yeah.
is on election day, and that's totally not true. Every time you pull your wallet out, you vote. Every single
Vote with
time
your
you
dollars.
vote with your
That's
dollars. And it's tough. I get it. I totally understand. It is difficult because a lot of times those smaller businesses are not going to have the distributorship agreements and the sales accounts and the volume purchases to offer you the best deal. The difference is when you go into these small businesses and you support them, when you walk in, they're going to say, Eric, hey,
Exactly. Yeah.
how's the family? How are your parents on their RV trip?
Yeah.
Whereas you walk into some of these bigger businesses and it's just, you get a blank stare of someone who absolutely hates their job. They hate their life because they're overworked, they're underpaid, and they're just a cog in the wheel. And like I said, more often than not, it's going to cost you more. It's going to be more. But what would you rather do? Would you rather give your money to someone who's actively involved in making your community a good place? Or do you want to give your money to someone who is actively doing work to not make your community a good place? Someone who is in direct support of tyranny and killing off those small businesses that we own, that your friends and your family own.
Absolutely.
That's what it is you vote with your dollar at the end of the day. And you can vote every single day as many times as you want. Which ballot box are you putting it in?
Whew. I mean, that's the truth. Every decision we make makes a difference. Small decision, I don't even think they're small decisions anymore. I think every decision on social media, who you decide to spend your time with, what church you decide to go to. I mean, I'll never forget when I got kicked out of that church. That was a crazy moment, but we're just in a different time. We're not in a neutral time anymore. You have to take a stand with liberty or tyranny. I go back to the founding fathers. Around this time when this flag was flying, you had loyalists and you had patriots. Only 3%, the 3%ers were the ones who actually got the freedom for the other 97%.
Right.
It only took, so are you part of that 3%? Let me ask you this. We're pro-life, pro-liberty in America first. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's very simple. Preserving life that is sacred. If it has a heartbeat, if it has its own DNA, it is its own life form. We are preserving that. We are, and in doing so, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, you can.
Liberty is you are preserving the life of something. You are preserving the liberty of that thing, of that human, to make the decision. So I think it's an all-encompassing statement. It's almost a redundant statement, because if you can't be pro-liberty and then fall into these other categories that are inherently anti-liberty.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't be strong in the pocket for one and then say, well, there is no maybe. And this is where so many people get caught up, is like, well, maybe I could have a foot in both camps, but you can't. And this isn't a I'm forcing you to take sides. I'm forcing you to be strong in your beliefs. If you truly believe in liberty, there's only one way to go.
There is.
That's it.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you quoted me, because I say all the time, liberty is the great equalizer. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, whether you're old or young, whether you're from this country or another, it's the one area where you can say, you know what, I have the right to my own opinion. We can agree to disagree. I always say America is great because Americans are different. The minute you lose your right to disagree, you lose your country. And that's why we're taking the stand that we're taking in business together. And that's why our whole motto is Patriots supporting Patriots. And we all need to be together in this. This is not just Nathan or Eric, this is all of us. So you decided to take a big stand a lot of people never take, to run for political office.
Correct.
And I think that's fantastic, because we need more ordinary people doing extraordinary things. This is our time.
Right.
It's not about the top down, it's the bottom up. And when it comes down to it, if we don't take hold of our communities, we talked about this earlier, if we don't take hold of our counties, of our state legislature, of the school boards, speak to our viewers about the importance of saying, if you feel a burning like you did to run, why should they decide to run?
Well, the biggest thing, it's more or less, I think a lot of people have the desire. They already know why they should run. I think the biggest problem is people think, oh, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. That's not something I do. That's something that other people do. We have to remember that all these people were those other people. That's at some point.
Yeah.
All of your all of your politicians, good, bad, and indifferent, they just started out as some person. They were all children, innocent children at some point, and they used our blessed liberty to make their decisions to go where they want to go. And just remember that I'm not special. I put my pants on the same way all of you do, and I was just tired of the way things are being done without having liberty injected into it. We, instead of injecting government control into our localities, we need to inject liberty. We need to inject the ability for these people to pursue that freedom with as little government impact as possible. And understand that you don't need a special college degree. You don't need to be a millionaire or billionaire philanthropist. You don't need to have a parent that was a politician. None of these things are, when I filled out the application to run, none of these things like, oh, dang, Dad wasn't a millionaire, I guess I'll go. None of these things are in there.
No.
None of these things are in there. Do you live in the place where you're running? Yes. Is there anything that keeps you from legally being able to run? No. Sign here, pay your money, run for office. There are barriers that are thrown in front of you that make it a daunting task. But if you care about the future we're leaving for our children and grandchildren, if you care about the present that you and I occupy, we're here. We have to deal with this on a daily basis. Nobody is one of the biggest things that I always try to send home to people who are hesitant to get involved, whether it be politically, in a patriotic organization, in an organization such as yours, Businesses for Liberty, when they are timid to get involved. You need to understand, no one is coming to save you. No one's coming. Not the Power Rangers, not the Ninja Turtles, not the Transformers, not
they've changed. Even the Power Rangers have changed.
Right. Not Superman, not Batman. Nobody's coming to save you. You are the savior. You are the hero. You are the hero. It's up to you. It's up to us to be the hero and to step up and say, I'm going to put my hat in. I'm going to step in the ring and be the man in the arena. That's what I want to be. I want to be because the man in the arena, while he may lose, he may get his eye blacked, he may get damaged, he may get killed, has the ultimate honor of saying, I stepped in the arena. I got in the ring with Ali. Did you go down in the first round? Maybe, but you still got in there. You're still better than 99.9% of the population. Most people would be like, not for me. And that's the problem. Most people do that, is you may walk away with a black eye or a broken arm, or you may not make it out alive. But you have to understand that there's nobody coming to save you. It's up to us to right the wrongs. It's up to us to preserve liberty, because no one else cares more about your liberty than you.
That's so well said. Well, I'll tell you, it's inspiring to me, because we need people to say, you know what, there's a problem and I can fix that problem. I can bring attention to the issue, whether it's in your schools, whether it's going on in your businesses, whether it's going on in your church. You can be the difference. And even as believers, we're called to take a stand for light. We're to be the salt of the earth. We're called to actually be the people that, you look at Christian, it means Christ-like, mini Christ. But too often we kind of just watch and wait for the pastor to do it or someone else to do it, but we're called to do it. Let me ask you this finally. People are going to be asking how they can help you. So what are the ways that people can support your business all over South Carolina and all over the country?
Well, obviously we'd love to have all of the gearheads and leadfoots out there to give us a shout and potentially consider doing business with us. If you can't afford the fast car, or you don't have one, but you're into this, share our posts, share our social media links, and show people what kind of cool stuff is going on down here. And moreover, if there are businesses that think in this time where we're not ready to step into the ring and spend $1 million on CNC equipment, if there are businesses out there that do laser jet cutting, that do CNC work, that do custom fabrication like that want to potentially gain our business, by all means, we want to work with Americans to keep America strong, because our borders are not just open to illegal immigration. Our borders are now and always have been open to taxless import. You know, I always make the analogy that if someone in Australia spends $10,000 with me, with their current exchange rate, they had to write me a check for 12,200 Australian dollars, right? For 10,000 US. So they lost there. Then they're going to have to pay to ship it there, which people pay shipping anyways. Living in Australia just kind of sucks. Your shipping's more than in the US, right? But once it gets there, their government taxes the heck out of that. They say, let me see your receipt. How much did you pay for that? And then they see, oh, it was 12,200 Australian. Well, we're going to tack another 30% on there. So they just paid, you know, after shipping and everything, 15, 16, maybe $17,000 Australian for $10,000 worth of product. And it makes it to the point where they don't really want to spend. Now, the idea behind that is to protect their local companies. Unfortunately, there are some things in that country and other countries that they can't get there. So they have to bite the bullet. But in the United States, we have the capability here to do, we are the home of racing, you know, in all sorts of racing. We have the ability to build and create and sell all of these products. But when China can send things into our country with zero tax, with no, you know, the customs looked over at the border, like, oh, well, there's no drugs in there. Go ahead, take it. You know, how does that protect our U.S. manufacturers? It doesn't. And the only way we fight back against that is working with U.S., with buying American, and that's what we want to do. Yeah. I'm more than happy to work with American companies, and I would love to do it within South Carolina, because if we make our home strong, we make our home strong.
That's right.
Period. End of story. We spend our money here, it stays here.
One of the guys in Businesses for Liberty, I love Brent Powell up in the upstate. We all love Brent. One of the things I love about what he does is he's teaching people how to grow their own food. And he can help other businesses by kind of being that raw material, so to speak, in terms of food for the businesses. If you're a business owner and you sell wood or you sell metal or you do any of these kind of raw materials, we want to get you involved in Businesses for Liberty. We all have a part to play in this. Whether you're a storefront, you're an online business, you're an at-home business, we all have a part in this. And if we all work together as this great nucleus, can you imagine what we could do? We could literally have our own economy, completely separate from the wokists and the globalists. We don't need them. There are so many more people that love this flag, that love their country, that love patriotism, that love God, than don't. We have to act like it. And we need to come together. So if you have any questions for Nathan, post them below as a comment and make sure that you reach out to Nathan. I think we're going to be doing a lot more interviews, and follow him as he runs for office. Pray for him. It's a difficult road, but it's one worth following. And I'm so glad that we finally got to do this, Nathan. Part 1.
Excellent.
Many more to come.
Sounds
God bless
good.
you all. Perfect. I love that I can edit it.